Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of War Thunder. This episode I'll be looking at the preliminary 1.43 patch notes and the updated research trees in 1.43 and a quick look at the new show icons. Yeah, just because I was meant to do this episode yesterday and this wasn't here, but it's been added today or yesterday, so I'll deal with them as well. I wasn't actually going to do this video originally. Originally there was just the 1.43 patch notes, but they've added the the research trees in 1.43, so I needed to update my last video, which was about where the new aircraft would be. So might as well just do it all in one video. So well, let's just get started. Now the first thing we see on the patch notes is a new hangar. It's sort of, I haven't really seen many pictures of it. I've only seen a few of it in the background as they show off the new aircraft. From what I understand, it's a mix of what we have now and what we used to have. It's like what we've got now because the aircraft you're going to use is outside the hangar, so it's on the runway. But instead of like having that huge open space behind you, you've got the hangar you used to have, I think. But obviously it's a bit done up. It's got flags of your nation. There's an aircraft in there. I think it's where the bombers are. Well, you got like various aircraft sort of scattered around at the moment. I think the bombers go in the hangar. And like I said, I've only seen a few little snippets of it like in the background. I haven't had a proper look at it, but it'll be mainly a cosmetic change from what I understand. I could be wrong, but yeah, it seems like it's mainly a cosmetic change. We've also got new weapons and environment sounds. Quickly click here. Got new sounds for the aircraft cannons and machine guns. Also changing the sound of suspension and tracks for heavy tanks. Sounds for broken trees and limbs. So you can see here MG17 131, Type 9799, Shakaz, Shafak, Breeder, Safat. You know, I'm only going to play one of them. I'll play the MG131. That's the old sound. That's the new sound. Like I said, I'm not going to play all of them because we'll be here for a while, but it'll be in the link for this. Well, I'll leave the link for the preliminary patch notes, and then you just click the link. Next, we've got customizable vehicle presets. Basically, from what I can understand, this is you can sort of set up. Say you want to do a tier 2 game, you can set up a preset crew thing, where you put all the tier 2 tanks and aircraft in that preset slot, probably the right word. So if you want to go to a tier 2 game, you just click onto your crew. You got vehicle presets here. We'll zoom in a little bit. You've got preset 1 current, preset 2. Now the current has tier 2 to 1 stuff, stuff like the T35, PE3E, stuff like that. But then preset 2 is all tier 5 stuff, including the R28, which we're going to get this patch. So yeah, we're going to get some more stuff. I mean, so the vehicle presets are going to, make it easier to switch between various different vehicles. Say you like doing, I don't know, a tier 5 game for your 2 times bonus, but want to play mainly tier 2 games after that. You can also see in this picture a background of the hangar. Like I said, it's a bit like the old hangar. You can't really see much though, which is why I haven't gone into too much detail on it. After customizable vehicle presets, we've got the new game mode for aircraft, which is race. I think they may have tested this. There was a game mode called Biathlon up for a few days. I didn't actually get around to playing it, but basically, racing. Where's the word? Contest of speed with your friends or with random opponents online. Which means it would probably be a custom thing, but you may have a game mode where you can do it like any time, maybe like in the events page. I'm not entirely sure they're going to do that, but looks like quite a fun game mode. It'll probably be something like you've already got single missions where you have to go through certain routes and stuff. It probably wouldn't be too much effort to just add in like a timer and like make it end as soon as one person gets to the end. Also got here new awards and achievements, which is always good because they usually give RP and Silver Lions. HD files can now be downloaded individually from the client. SD client files 3.1 gigabyte. I not entirely sure what this means. I don't know if this is to do with recordings in the game, or I know there was another game I used to play where you could download the patches individually. I don't know if it's to do with that. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this is. There's probably others who know more about this than me, but I'm not really sure what it is. I'll try and get back to you if I find out. What else we got? And many bug fixes corrected, which is always good. Now, next we got new ground equipment. I don't usually play tanks, but I'll obviously cover it anyway, as best as I can. Now, for the USSR, we've got a few new. We got CSU 37, CUT 37, CSU 57-2, T35, T54 model 1947, and a T3, which is a Panzer III J with a 50mm gun, 38 length /42. If we go to the tech trees, find USSR. Now this is what they're doing. They're just sort of showing in the tech tree. They're showing where the new stuff's going to be, which was the point of my last video. Those highlighted with the green or yellowy outline. We've got T54 here, so it would be a tier 5 medium tank. I think that's a medium tank line. Well, it starts light, but then it goes to medium as you advance. And we've got the CSU 37 tier 4 anti-aircraft gun, the CSU 57 tier 5 anti-aircraft gun, which is actually surprising because I actually thought the CSU 57 was up from after 1953, but maybe there was a prototype around at this time. Not entirely sure. Premiums were only so there's only three. There's 3 new vehicles. The other 3 are premiums. The CUT 37, which I think is it's either an anti-aircraft gun or a tank destroyer. I can't quite remember. I'll probably put an annotation if I find out before I put this up. T3, obviously, because it's a captured German tank, and the T35, which is a multi-turret tank. The only one we've got at the moment. It was in the last dev server for 1.41, I think, but it was never added. So, not sure why. Maybe that's to tweak the, multi-turreted controls and all that. I know they did mention in one of their question and answer sessions about the Char B1 BIS, so possibly we're getting more multi-turret tanks. Well, the B1 BIS is actually a French tank, so maybe we're going to get French tanks later as well. But before I get too off track, let's move on to the Germans. We got 3 flak panzers. The Verbal Wind. We got 3 flak Panzer 4s and 1 flak Panzer 5. The 4s are Verbal Wind, Ostwind, and Kugelblitz, and the 5 is a Coelian. I think that's how it's pronounced. Then we got the Panzer II Ulf H, Panzer III J with 50mm 39 length to 60/60 gun. I think the length might be the 42 actually. Length 42 for length 60 for the German Panzer III, and it was length 42 for the Russians. I think that's how it works, but I think the longer it is, generally the better penetration, unless I'm mistaken. Then we've got the Panzer IV Ulst J and the Panzer IV Ulst J. Well, one's got KPFW in it and one's got BFW in it. I think one of them is got the different side skirts. I think it might have been the command tank that I think it might be the command tank they were showing the other day. It does have different side skirts. They're like made of mesh or something. But yeah, I'm not sure what use the command tank's going to be. We've also got the Marder 3, Stug 3G, and the KB1 with the KWK-40 turret on it. So quickly go to Germans. Now they've got quite a few more tanks on the normal line. They've got about 4, I think. Got the Marder 3, the Panzer IV J, the 4 AKAK guns, and the Stug 3. So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, and the Panzer III J. So they've got 7 ordinary tanks compared to the Russians' 3, but they only get 2 premiums. The Panzer II H and the Panzer Command Vehicle. Well, the Panzer IV Command Vehicle. So yeah, it does seem like they're adding more German stuff, which I'm not too surprised. I don't play ground forces, but I look on the forums. There's always a lot of complaints about the Russians being overpowered in like ground forces. So maybe that. I mean, it's always been denied, but the fact they're adding more German than Russian stuff maybe suggests there might be some truth in it. Not entirely sure. Like I say, I don't play ground forces. Now moving on to aviation, we got the USA. We didn't know all the aircraft that was in here, but I had a look at the tech tree before I started doing this video. I think I got most of them in the right place. But we've got the F7F1, the B57A, they're the two normal ones, and two premiums, Focke-Wulf 190AA and the Ki-43 too late. We go to the USA. Now the F7F is zoomed in a little too far. It's between the Corsair and the Bearcat. So I think I said it would be before or just after the Bearcat. So roughly right, I think. And the Canberra, well, B57A in the bomber line, which we already knew. I mean, which I've said in my last video as well. We didn't know about the premiums. The Focke-Wulf 190AA is a tier 4 premium, and we've got the Ki-43 2. It's meant to be a too late. Kind of interesting because I don't think the Japanese are getting the too late, so it seems a bit odd that America's getting it but the Japanese aren't, especially since this is a captured aircraft. But I don't know, maybe Japan's going to get it later, maybe they're going to add it in like at a late, you know, at the last minute. One thing I did just forget to mention about the Americans, apologies if I've interrupted the flow of the video, the P-51s have been unfolded or ungrouped, so if you're trying to get to the American jets, be wary you're going to have an extra aircraft if you haven't unlocked the P-51D5 yet. This is actually unfortunate for me because I'm trying to get through the P-63 line, P-63, then get the P-51. Now I'm going to have an extra aircraft in the way. Ironically, it was something like it was this exact problem on the exact same line that made me do my last video on where they will be in the tech tree. So where the new aircraft will be on the tech tree. So yeah, just be wary of that. Quickly move on to Germany. They're getting the Focke-Wulf 190A4, which I don't think we knew about when I did my last video. The Halton 229V3. And they're the two normal, and then the Tempest Mark V Premium and the Yak-1B Premium. They're getting two captured aircraft, which you'll probably see this along with the premiums. But we go to the tech tree. The A4 is just between the A5 and the A1, which, you know, makes sense, I suppose. Don't really know too much about it in the moment. Got the Halton 229V3 down the ME410 which, again, we already knew about. Then we got the Yak-1B Tier 2 Premium and the Tempest Mark V, a Tier 4. There was a bit of an uproar about the Tempest because I can't remember exactly why. I think it was because, you know, again, a captured aircraft, and some people were disputing whether it was captured or not. As far as I'm aware, it was captured by the Germans, but not much is really known about what happened to it after the war. Quickly go to the USSR. They're getting a few more normal ones. The I-16 Type 5, Yak-1, Yak-9, R-28 and the P-47D as a premium. Go to Russia. Now the P-47D is actually a Lend-Lease. It's a Tier 3 aircraft, but that makes a bit more sense to Lend-Lease because Russia did receive it probably as part of Lend-Lease. But quickly going to the normal ones. Yak-1, I don't think we knew where. I didn't know exactly where it was going to be. The Yak-1 and Yak-9. Yak-1, I believe, is a battle rating of 2, and is the first aircraft on the Yak line. Just a bit worried it's going to end up in fights with biplanes because I think they're like battle rating 1, and you can end up with something like a spread of 1.0 on your battle rating. So theoretically, if you're a bad biplane player, you could go against, or a good biplane player, you could go against a bad Yak-1 player, which seems a bit unfair. But maybe there's a way. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played biplane matches in a while. There's probably a way to stop Yak-1s ending up in biplane matches. Then we've got the Yak-9. Again, wasn't sure where that was going to be. We now know it's going to be between the Yak-1B and the Yak-9T and Yak-9K. So yeah, that seems good place for it. The I-16 Type 5 is it's with the original lot of I-16s. So you know, it's going to be a Tier 1 aircraft. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, I don't think. The R-28 on the attacker line, like we said. Well, we already knew that, and obviously the P-47D. So quickly go off the USSR and down to Britain. Oh, we're on the tech tree still. Now here's Britain. Now we're getting the Lancaster. Britain's getting the Lancaster Mark 1, Canberra B Mark 2, Venom FB Mark IV and the PBY-5A, part of Lend-Lease again. So we'll go to the tech tree. You see the Venom FB4 here, tier 5 after the Vampire. Canberra B Mark II at the end of the bomber line, and the Lancaster B Mark I, which is after the Wellington Mark II 10, but before the Lancaster Mark III. And Premium, the PBY, tier 1 aircraft. It's going to be, I think it was from Lend-Lease again. I think Britain used quite a few of these. This could cause a bit of a stir in the lower tiers because it has something like £4,000 worth of bombs. Yeah, although then again, I suppose the TB3, which carries like 4,000 kilograms, doesn't cause that many problems. So maybe it won't cause much of a shake-up. Not entirely sure. Something to look out for, I suppose. Now, last lot of aircraft. Japan. They're getting quite a few of these. The Ki-27 Otsu, Ki-43-1, J7W1, the Kitsuka, the R2Y2 V1, V2 and V3, and a B-17E as a premium. So we'll go to Japan, Ki-27 and Ki-43 on the Japanese Army line, and they're just between the Ki-10 and the Ki-43 too. Like I said, I don't think Japan has the too late like the which the Americans will have as part of a premium. So bit odd. I don't know if there's been some changes to the Ki-84. Apparently they did make some mistakes. The A6M5 Co is meant to still be tier 4. And it's been confirmed it will stay tier 4, and this was a bit of a mistake. So I don't know if they've made mistakes on here. The other aircraft, J7W1 and the Kitsuka. I did think the M1K2Js were going to be folded together or put in their own little group, but they don't seem to have been. The A6M5 has been. Got the R2Y2s here at the end of the attacker line, and the B-17E is a tier 4 premium, which again caused a bit of a stir on the forums because obviously there's been a lot of complaints against bombers lately, and the response has been to add more bombers. Plus, Japan doesn't really need it. It's got the G5N1, G8N1 with good defensive capabilities and a decent bomb load. I don't know why they had to give them a B-17E. I think last I did say they were getting Japanese bombs for the B-17E as well, which to make it more fairer. So I don't know how that's going to work out. Quickly, just check the last of the patch notes. Got Mozdok, Poland, Norway, and Tropical Island for aircraft as new locations and missions. Poland, I think, is an urban one. Can't remember what the other two. I think Norway and Mozdok are meant to be quite big maps. I assume they're going to be tanks and aircraft. No, I'm not entirely sure. We've got changes in interface. Armour Inspector showing armour and vehicle modules. Tank shell effects on the armour are now described in more detail. I think Armour Inspector is you can see like the armour of your tank in the hangar. See how thick it is, what angle it is, and I think you can see inside your tank as well, so you know where to aim. Like it'll show you where your crew is, or where the ammo is, or where the engine is, so you can obviously aim a bit more effectively. And obviously, you know, the other weak spots from the armour thickness. The tank shell effects, I don't know if this is to do with, like, you know, just visual effects when the shells hit, or if it's to do with this new kill cam thing they're showing, like the shell where, you know, you die and then it will show a replay of where the shell hit you and what it destroyed in the tank. So yeah, I assume it'll be one of those two things. Replay view interface has been significantly changed and improved. There has been some improvements. They added a little bar at the top to show who was winning, which we didn't have before in replays. But it doesn't actually work. It's just a blank. It's just you've got the bar, but it just has. There's no score in it. It's just a blank bar. And obviously a blank bar isn't much help. Maybe this will be changed in 1.43. Then we've got spectator view screen has been significantly reworked. Not entirely sure what those changes are there. We'll have to see. Now there is one last thing. Go over to the top. New shell icons. That will be shown in 1.43. So you can see it will show you the tank shell's characteristics and reflect armor penetration, shell type, and damage effects. So it will tell you the maximum penetration capacity, which shells have the maximum penetration capacity, which have maximum damage effects, whether they contain explosive filler or just a solid metal shot. They're bringing in different icons for the various different shells. So APHE's got that icon, armor piercing that icon. You know, basically just lots of different icons to help just sort of differentiate between the different shells. Don't know why we've got shrapnel here. Since we haven't got infantry or anything, but before I get too sidetracked, and we've got 4 different grades to indicate armor piercing capacity depending on armor thickness. Not going to read all of this. I'll leave a link to it. But looking at the things at the bottom here for HE shells, we're going to have fuse delay. Will show how far the distance a shell travels before the fuse completes its arming process. And we've got fuse sensitivity. Basically, it won't go off until it's gone through a certain amount of certain millimeters of material. So, say a tank's got 20 millimeters of material, armor, and it's got a fuse sensitivity of 30 millimeters. It won't actually go off until it's gone through the tank and started hitting the armor on the other side. Chance of the shell to ricochet after impact of armor positioned at 30 degrees angle. Angle of normalization. Not entirely sure all of it, but apparently a high angle of normalization will increase penetration against sloped armor. So yeah, just to let you know that's been added. I think one of the main reasons I've actually added this is when looking at the different forums and people's experience of ground forces, a lot of people seem to have a lot of trouble with the damage model, and not necessarily because it's the game's fault either. A lot of people just sometimes may use the wrong shell type. So I think this will probably help combat, or it's designed to try and combat a lot of the difficulties some people face in ground forces. But we'll have to see how it'll work out when it's been added. Well, anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope it's helped. Remember, these are preliminary patch notes, as it says here. Full changes will be published with the opening of the dev server. Don't know when that's going to be open. It has gone to 1.43, so presumably soon. But thank you for watching. Hope you liked the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Leave feedback or comments if I've got anything wrong or if you've got any additional information. Subscribe if you like these sort of videos. And, well, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.